The Empress births life into the world, yet demands the death of your illusions. The Empress is one of the most captivating figures, an esoteric nexus of symbolism, psychology, imagery, and tarot mystique. A kind of spiritual blueprint reflecting the feminine principle in both nature and the psyche. Beneath her regal facade lies an ancient archetype that straddles mythological realms, religious narratives, and personal subconscious depths, calling forth not just our admiration, but our yearning to understand the deeper currents of existence. Where ancient myth converges with inner truth, the divine feminine unfurls like a secret bloom, revealing the Empress as the quiet force that nurtures creation and awakens the soul. The Empress archetype has roots woven through centuries of myth and mysticism, but she is more than a historical relic. She is the tender voice in your psyche urging growth, the whisper in your dreams, encouraging you to bring dormant potentials into bloom. Across cultures, she resonates with the majestic earth goddess, the cosmic mother, and the regal consort who blesses the land. Yet her true domain extends beyond folklore, for she inhabits our daily life. In every creative endeavor, every nurturing embrace, and every moment we decide to open our hearts, the Empress lives on. In the Rider Waite Smith tarot, she is depicted in lush surroundings, stars crowning her head, a scepter in hand, and abundant wheat at her feet. But she transcends the simple imagery of fertility and beauty. She points to an inner dynamic, the mother who nourishes, the lover who ignites passion, and the primordial womb of creation itself. She is both gentle and potent, wise yet fiercely protective, an embodiment of nature's cyclical wisdom. This archetype also holds keys to understanding our psychology. Drawing on Jungian insights, one may discern echoes of the Great Mother archetype within her, a dynamic energy of tender nourishment intertwined with the potential for overwhelming control. More than a mere emblem of life's abundance, she reflects the delicate balance between creative genesis and the risk of self-limiting excess. Our personal and collective unconscious holds her essence in shadow and in light. When we harmonize with her, she becomes a wellspring of healing, self-love, and creative expression. If we resist her or allow her energies to distort, she can morph into control, smothering love, or destructive attachment. So, what if the Empress we observe in art and legend is not an external symbol, but a forgotten aspect of our own being? In this video, we'll journey across her mythic incarnations, uncover her tarot symbolism, and probe her presence in modern culture. We'll examine her deeper presence in Jungian psychology, see how her shadow side emerges, and discover how her energy might be integrated in our own lives for self-discovery and transformation. Prepare to meet the Empress as muse, mother, and mirror, because perhaps she is you, waiting to be remembered. Let's begin. The Empress as the living archetype of creation. The Empress represents a living expression of the Great Mother archetype in both myth and depth psychology. Beyond being a silent emblem of fertility, she is a vibrant, pulsating force that births new realities. Throughout mythology and in numerous spiritual traditions, her essence reflects a divine womb, a cosmic matrix from which all life emerges. Some may recognize parallels with Shakti in Hinduism or Nuit in Egyptian lore, feminine energies that spark creation and maintain a perpetual dance between the invisible and the manifest. While it would be erroneous to identify these deities and symbols as carbon copies of the Empress, we sense their shared theme, the feminine creative force as the doorway to life's manifestation. Whether one calls her Shakti, Nuit, or something else, the Empress-like presence invites us to see creation itself as feminine, fluid, gestational, and profoundly connected to the cycles of nature. Within esoteric tarot, the Empress card stands at the threshold between spirit and matter. She embodies manifestation in its purest form, the bridge through which the unformed can become incarnate. While the Rider Waite Smith depiction of her is visually arresting, its deeper revelations become apparent when you grasp that she's more than a figure enthroned among flora and grain. She's a symbol of how creative energy descends into the physical world, how vision becomes reality, how the intangible is given shape. In a symbolic way, the Empress states, "The body is sacred, the earth is sacred, creation is sacred." As we move along, we will explore her tarot symbolism in detail, revealing each element that encodes her archetypal significance. Keep watching, for we will decode her crown of stars, her robe's motifs, and more in a dedicated section later in this video. From a Jungian perspective, she resonates with the ambivalence of the mother archetype, capable of unconditional nurturing, but also possessing the potential to engulf or devour. Carl Jung, the famous Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst who founded analytical psychology, highlighted this dichotomy when describing the mother image as both life-giving and dangerous. Recognizing and integrating such nuances is pivotal to individuation, our lifelong quest to reconcile our conscious selves with the treasures and terrors of the unconscious. Yet duality doesn't necessarily equate to contradiction. Mythologically, we see mother figures who nourish civilizations but can also wield terrifying power. The Empress, in her fullness, reveals that all aspects of creation, growth and decay, love and loss, tenderness and ferocity, are strands in the grand tapestry of existence. To engage with her is to embrace the creative process in all its blessings and burdens, acknowledging the delicate balance between forging new life and guarding it with protective zeal. The Divine Feminine and Sacred Fertility. Embodying the Divine Feminine, the Empress archetype stands as a testament to life's perpetual renewal. She is intimately linked with Earth's cycles, lunar rhythms, and the voluptuous qualities of Venus. One can imagine standing under a full moon, sensing the gentle thrum of life in the soil beneath one's feet. This pulsation is the Empress. She is the quiet hum of the cosmos that ignites seeds and nurtures them into living wonders. In many mystical traditions, we encounter female deities who represent a creative wellspring. Shakti dances the universe into being, while Shekinah in Kabbalistic thought is the indwelling presence of the divine. These motifs echo the Empress in her infinite capacity to birth, feed, and sustain. She points us to the boundless fecundity inside each of us, an inner fertility that transcends literal motherhood and touches our capacity for ideas, art, compassion, and human connection. On a metaphysical level, she is the womb of possibility. Like the soil that nurtures seeds, the Empress archetype fosters the intangible spark of inspiration, guiding it from formless potential into tangible expression. She stands at the crossroads between intangible spirit and tangible form, enfolding the energies of love, growth, and continuous transformation. In the realm of sacred fertility, she invites you not merely to create life in the biological sense, but to allow your deepest passions to blossom into reality, whether through creative projects, relationships, or personal evolution. Just as a seed, shrouded in darkness, awakens to the light, so too does your creative potential, nurtured by the Empress, burst forth into radiant reality. The Empress in ancient civilizations and myth. When we cast our gaze across diverse mythological landscapes, the Empress archetype appears as a prism, revealing multiple facets of sacred motherhood, generative power, and emotional depth. Yet we must hold these myths gently, acknowledging their cultural nuances. We do not reduce them to direct ancestors of the Empress card, but rather interpret them as kindred expressions of feminine potency. Isis, in Egyptian lore, is revered as the goddess of magic and motherhood, bestowing life and protection upon gods and mortals alike. Her powers of resurrection and devotion illustrate the profound capacity of the divine feminine to heal, protect, and transform. Demeter, in Greek tradition, presides over the harvest, her sorrow at Persephone's abduction plunging the world into winter's cold grasp. Through her plight, we glimpse the Empress's emotional depth, her connection to cyclical natural processes, and the delicate interplay between abundance and barrenness. Meanwhile, we find Shakti and Parvati in Hindu cosmology, cosmic mothers who underlie all creation, weaving life-giving energy into every living cell. Shakti is dynamic power itself, an unstoppable flow generating cosmic cycles. While the Empress is distinct in symbolism, she resonates with Shakti's role as the matrix of all forms. Though these figures hail from distinct mythologies, their cores align. They represent creativity intertwined with love, the power to sustain life, and the embodiment of forces greater than ourselves. Each mythic tale underscores an aspect of the Empress, her fertility, her compassion, her fierce devotion, and at times, her capacity for wrath or stern justice. Through these stories, we recognize that the Empress archetype is at once deeply personal and profoundly universal, spanning epochs and civilizations as a sacred echo of the eternal Great Mother. The symbolism of the Empress tarot card, as depicted in the traditional Rider Waite Smith deck. To truly understand the Empress is to decode the sacred language of her imagery, for every symbol she bears is a portal into deeper realms of feminine wisdom and cosmic order. The Empress card, as depicted in the traditional Rider Waite Smith tarot deck, invites us into a realm of lush color and cryptic imagery that speaks volumes about the cosmic interplay of creation. Far beyond a decorative picture, it is a tapestry of arcane wisdom. Let us walk step by step through each symbolic element. The crown of 12 stars. Her crown, bejeweled with 12 luminous stars, alludes to celestial authority and cyclical time. 12 is the number of zodiac signs, echoing cosmic wholeness. Like the woman clothed with the sun in certain mystical traditions, the Empress harnesses these celestial forces, reflecting how cosmic rhythms guide earthly life. She stands at the point where stellar energies flow into the material realm, bridging heaven and earth. The Empress's robe. Draped in a white gown embellished with luxuriant red patterns, she symbolizes a fusion of purity and vibrant life force. The red threads suggest dynamic fertility and unstoppable creative energy. In her robe, we see an invitation to embrace passion, birth new ideas, and cradle them with the purity of heartfelt intention. This garment is an ever-present reminder that creativity, if nurtured in a spirit of love, can bear fruit beyond measure. The golden scepter and globe. She wields a scepter capped by a globe, asserting her reign over earthly existence. It points to her active role in shaping reality. The Empress is not passive. In esoteric teachings, scepters channel divine will into earthly form. Holding a globe signifies her command of the physical world. Through her, celestial authority becomes manifest in the tangible realm. The heart-shaped shield of Venus. The symbol of Venus, upon a heart-shaped shield, cements her bond with love, beauty, and creative attraction. This shield reminds us that genuine creativity flourishes when nurtured by affection and care. The Empress's capacity to safeguard and cherish is not rooted in aggression, but in the maternal instinct to protect what she loves. Venus here points to the synergy of passion and nurturance that underlies all creation. The throne of comfort. Unlike the rigid seats of some archetypal figures, her throne is plush and inviting, symbolizing how comfort and security can nurture growth. Where other figures might emphasize ascetic control, the Empress lauds the pleasures of the material world. This is where the sensual realm becomes a holy temple. Food, sleep, sensual delight, all made sacred when approached with reverence and mindful acceptance. The golden wheat field. At her feet lies a field of ripe wheat, a testament to nourishment and cyclical harvest. This wheat signals that every seed sown has the potential to flourish. It also conjures Demeter's legacy, nature's rhythms of life, death, and rebirth. The Empress's promise is one of fruitful returns. When we tend lovingly to our inner seeds of inspiration, we eventually reap abundance. The flowing river of life. A gently winding stream traverses the card, symbolizing the ever-moving current of emotions and the ongoing cycle of renewal. Water has long been linked to intuition and the subconscious, thus reinforcing that the Empress holds dominion over emotional depths. Her gift is fluid connection, reminding us that emotions, like water, can be harnessed as catalysts for creativity and growth. The verdant forest and flora. Surrounding her is an Edenic forest, teeming with flora that pulses in shades of rich green. This setting underscores that her realm is one of flourishing life. Where she reigns, the natural world is lush and bountiful. The Empress's environment mirrors the process of creative gestation, from the quiet germination of potential to the lush, expressive fullness of form. The astrological correspondences. At the heart of this card resides Venus, the planetary force guiding love, beauty, and magnetism. Yet beneath her rule also lie the earthy energies of Taurus, a sign of patient cultivation and material abundance, and the airy grace of Libra, which fosters harmony in relationships. Together, these cosmic influences paint the Empress as a figure of sensual grounding, balanced artistry, and relational depth. The Kabbalistic correspondence. The path of Daleth. In Kabbalistic tradition, the Empress aligns with the Hebrew letter Daleth, meaning door or gate. On the Tree of Life, she is literally the gateway between the formless energies of the upper spheres and the shaping womb of creation below. This represents the entry point where divine wisdom, Chokmah, meets the nurturing aspect of creation, Bina, merging archetypal force with form. Through this portal, cosmic wisdom pours into the realm of manifestation, giving birth to forms, relationships, and tangible experiences. She is the cosmic hinge that swings open to reveal embodied life. The alchemical correspondence, the principle of salt. Some modern esoteric circles liken the Empress to salt, the stable matrix that houses and preserves. In alchemy, salt is a grounding principle, binding volatile elements into a cohesive creation. Mirroring that, the Empress is the vessel where ephemeral inspirations become enduring realities. In this analogy, her womb is the place of transformation, a living crucible in which spirit and matter unite. The number 3. 3 is the number of creation itself, a synergy that transforms duality into a new form. From the singular spark to the pair who engender synergy, the third factor emerges as the fruit of union. The Empress, as the third major arcana, captures this power of expansion, new life, fresh possibilities, dynamic evolution. She is the triple chord in life's symphony, heralding not only fertility, but the cyclical nature of growth. Altogether, the Empress card resonates with cosmic creativity, maternal protection, and the cyclical fertility that underscores existence. Her presence reminds us that we too carry the seed of creation within. Interacting with this archetypal figure invites us to celebrate the material world without shame and to tend carefully to the subtle energies that shape our inner landscapes. In reading her symbolism, we begin to decode ourselves. The Empress in Jungian psychology. Depth psychology helps us peel back the layers of myth to uncover the Empress's psychological significance. For Carl Jung, the Great Mother archetype is multifaceted, both benevolent and fearsome, equally capable of soothing or threatening the psyche. The Empress personifies this mother archetype in her radiant maternal form. Yet, as Jung cautions, the unconscious is not just evil by nature. It is also the source of the highest good, not only dark but also light, not only bestial, semi-human, and demonic, but superhuman, spiritual, and, in the classical sense of the word, divine. Her ambivalence mirrors the very nature of the unconscious, which contains both the seeds of growth and the roots of our fears. In many respects, the Empress's energies function as an internal mother, an emblem of how we choose to nurture or neglect the vulnerable parts of ourselves. She can be the gentle caretaker we never had, or the loving maternal presence we cultivate in adulthood to heal wounds left by an unkind world. Conversely, if this energy is left unchecked, it can devolve into smothering obsession or an all-consuming caretaker complex, strangling personal autonomy. Jung's exploration of the mother complex reveals that where the Empress archetype thrives, creativity flourishes. Where it becomes tangled in shadow, it can morph into enmeshment, dependency, or a voracious need for approval. Much of our individuation process depends on reconciling these maternal energies, giving the inner child the nurturing it needs while also forging healthy boundaries. Embracing the Empress archetype can become a form of self-reparenting, empowering us to hold ourselves with infinite tenderness and acceptance. And indeed, she is an image of psychological birth. To embody her is to honor the cyclical patterns of creation in your own life, launching projects, nurturing relationships, or fostering personal growth. Her presence in dream work or active imagination can guide us toward reclaiming the half-forgotten ability to love unconditionally, both ourselves and others. In so doing, we align with the unstoppable current of universal creation. The shadow of the Empress. The Empress archetype, like all potent psychological forces, casts a shadow. When her nurturing aspect warps into domination or love becomes obsession, we witness the darker face of this energy. Overprotectiveness, emotional engulfment, and manipulative care are but a few faces of the Empress's shadow. As Jung famously stated, everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. When maternal energies are denied, repressed, or twisted into control, they congeal into a stifling presence that chokes the very growth she was meant to foster. Love, when distorted, can become the jailer of the beloved. Mothers, literal or symbolic, who cannot let children individuate. Caretakers who cling for fear of being alone, or givers who devour the independence of others. These are all reflections of the Empress's shadow, and the mother complex can become a labyrinth in which both caretaker and recipient lose themselves. Here, as Jung put it, the shadow is a moral problem that challenges the whole ego personality, for no one can become conscious of the shadow without considerable moral effort. To become conscious of it involves recognizing the dark aspects of the personality as present and real. This act is the essential condition for any kind of self-knowledge. The moral challenge lies in recognizing that the yearning to protect can sometimes root itself in fear or a lack of self-worth. By controlling or micromanaging others, the shadowy Empress attempts to fill the emptiness within. Myth and folklore brim with cautionary tales of destructive feminine power. Medea's wrath, the archetype of the wicked stepmother, or even fairy tale queens who sabotage innocence out of envy. In tarot, a reversed Empress card might indicate codependency, blocked creativity, or a refusal to nurture oneself. These are reminders of how easily an archetype built on creation can slip into realms of stagnation and control. The turning point emerges when we consciously explore these darker valleys. Jung reminds us that one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Our illusions about perfect mothering or unconditional love can conceal manipulative impulses. The first step toward redemption is shining awareness upon the shadow. Only then can we harness the power of the Empress in a healthy, life-affirming manner, rather than letting her drown us or others in an overabundance of care. Through introspection, therapy, or spiritual work, we can transmute controlling impulses into genuine compassion, learning to cradle without crushing, guide without gripping, and love without losing ourselves. The Empress in modern culture and media. Even in today's fast-paced digital landscape, traces of the Empress archetype emerge wherever maternal power or creative abundance is depicted. In cultural narratives, both ancient and modern, we encounter powerful women who channel the Empress archetype in striking ways. Cleopatra, for instance, harnessed her regal influence, intellect, and potent allure to sway empires, showing how feminine authority can merge political strategy, seduction, and creative statecraft. Additionally, one sees her as well in matriarchs who safeguard families, nurture communities, and sometimes risk their own well-being for the greater good. Characters like Molly Weasley from the Harry Potter series, who fiercely protects her children, yet offers them a warm, emotional haven, embody many of the Empress's virtues. On the flip side, Daenerys Targaryen of Game of Thrones reveals how motherly ambition can slip into tyranny if left unintegrated. Though her initial impetus is liberation and care, she becomes undone by her own unresolved hunger for acceptance and power. In popular culture, the notion of the Earth Mother, or Gaia, resurfaces in environmental movements, reminding us that the Earth itself is our primordial caretaker. While brands capitalize on goddess energy to market beauty products or spiritual retreats, the underlying hunger for reconnection with the divine feminine is genuine. It's as though modern society, having long undervalued nurturing qualities, is rediscovering how crucial they are for balance, sustainability, and personal fulfillment. In psychological and dream analysis, those working with tarot or symbolic imagery might encounter the Empress as a dream figure, a benevolent maternal presence who guides them through emotional healing, or conversely, a warning sign of over-attachment to comfort zones. Our culture's renewed interest in the divine feminine suggests we are collectively reclaiming aspects once marginalized: intuition, embodiment, cyclical living, thus resurrecting the Empress as an essential guide in our modern narrative. Integrating the Empress archetype into daily life. To embrace the Empress is to realign with nature's cycles and your own intrinsic capacity for nourishment. Rather than treating embodiment as mundane, she reminds us that the body itself can be a temple and creation a sacred rite. Whether by planting a small herb garden, cooking meals with reverence, or dedicating time to quiet introspection, you invoke her presence in the everyday. She also teaches us about balance, giving and receiving, striving and resting, sowing seeds and letting them germinate. Like the seasons, she moves through expansions and contractions. If you yearn for personal transformation, one path is to walk more slowly, breathe more deeply, and honor each moment as a portal to renewal. The Empress beckons you to sense the pulse of life's hidden rhythms and live in harmony with them. Yet if you find yourself overgiving or feeling burdened by the weight of caring for others, remember that the Empress begins at home, in how you treat yourself. Self-nurturing is not a selfish act. It is the wellspring from which healthy compassion flows. As Carl Jung wrote in a moment of poetic clarity, "My friends, it is wise to nourish the soul. Otherwise, you will breed dragons and devils in your heart." Your personal well-being is the foundation upon which you can kindly mother those around you without losing yourself in the process. The Empress is not a performative role. It is a frequency of creation, a capacity for love and generosity that becomes tangible when you center it within your own psyche. And this abiding energy does not vanish in times of sorrow or chaos. Instead, it thrives when you trust in cyclical renewal, that every winter has a spring waiting to unfold. And if the Empress is within you, waiting to be remembered, she does not end where the card ends. She walks with you through seasons and shadows, through moments of creation and stillness. She is not a myth you visit, but a presence you remember. A sovereign force within you, always waiting to be reawakened. When you create, nurture, protect, or simply rest, you return to her, not as an idea, but as a truth. Thanks for watching. Where do you see the Empress energy in your life? Comment below. If you found value here, please like, share, subscribe, and consider becoming a channel member for exclusive perks and to help support my mission. And before you go, click the video on your screen to dive into the psychology and symbolism of the High Priestess archetype